My name is Samuel, and I am one of the co-founders of FLIC, and I'm very happy to be here today. And so let me share my screen real quick. You guys can see my screen, right?
Sure can.
Okay, good. All right, so let's talk about proof of stake. So first off, what is proof of stake exactly? So proof of stake is a consensus mechanism to verify cryptocurrency transactions and secure it in the blockchain. And it is a way to help create new blocks in the blockchain. And as Catherine Mulligan says, it was developed in response to the high computational costs of the proof of work protocols. So it's thought of as a way to improve proof of work. And so let's find out how it works. So let's say you're the owner of a cryptocurrency that uses proof of stake, such as Solana, right, or Cardano, and you can have the choice to stake your coins as a validator node. And staking just means that you trust this system and this forms consensus, right? And so when transactions are ready to be processed, the proof of stake protocol will choose a validator node to review the transactions. And so validator will check if the transactions are accurate, and if everything's good and accurate and good to go, then the validator will add it to the blockchain, and in return for the contribution, they will earn some rewards, typically in transaction fees. And this is a way for many people to earn some passive income on the side. And one thing to note is that the chance of that your node gets picked to be a validator usually depends on the amount that you staked. And this is actually pretty important, as we'll see later, as I'll talk about later on. And another thing is that if transactions in a new block are discovered to be invalid, then those users can have a certain amount of their stake burned by the network. So it's important to make sure that everything's accurate before adding it to the blockchain. And so let's have a side-by-side comparison of proof of stake versus proof of work. Because proof of work is currently for many cryptocurrencies, many cryptocurrencies are still using proof of work, such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. But Ethereum is actually thinking about making the transition from proof of work to proof of stake. So let's take a look at this. So proof of stake, first off, there's faster transactions and it's more scalable. There's a smaller environmental and carbon footprint, and it provides economic incentives to approve valid blocks. And proof of work, however, mining costs and the network is more open and decentralized. And only consensus mechanisms to have been proven. It's the only consensus mechanism to have been proven at a large scale. And so I want to talk about the the environmental aspect for a little bit. Proof of stake has significantly much better for the environment, and it's more energy efficient, because proof of work is actually like proof of work when in the proof of work protocol, miners need to solve these very complex cryptographic hashing puzzles. In order to solve it, it takes a lot of energy consumption. Whereas for proof of stake, it's much less energy. It's much more energy efficient to approve the transactions, the blockchain. And so continuing on, as I mentioned, proof of stake has faster transactions, whereas proof of work has slower transactions because of the cryptographic hash. So in order to add the transaction onto the blockchain, you need to solve this cryptographic puzzle. That's why it has slower transaction speeds. And proof of stake actually leans more towards centralization. And going back to the point where I talked about where the more you stake, the higher chance you have. This is because in a proof of stake system, it favors people with a higher amount of tokens staked to that network. So those people have a higher chance of being validators, right? And so this means that as time goes on, there will be more and more stakeholders who have higher profit margins, and they will have eventually their stake will grow much faster than anyone else. And at a certain point, this cost of being in a mining operation will start to be high, and causing small stakeholders to drop out, and this will cause centralization in those top stakeholders. So this is one thing that may be concerning for proof of stake. And as I mentioned before, proof of work generates a considerable amount of e-waste and CO2 emissions. However, it uses a competitive validation method to confirm transactions and add new blocks to the blockchain, which makes it more secure than proof of stake. So let's take a look at the pros and cons. So first, for proof of stake, I've mentioned this before, but it's much more energy efficient, and the hardware requirements are equivalent to that of an average computer or laptop. And there's a low capital requirement and a barrier of entry to be a proof of stake validator. All you need is to be a owner of that certain cryptocurrency, and you can stake your coins. And there's censorship resistance. So proof of stake validators can be run on small laptops. Large scale validators can be run from a library compared to for proof of work, those warehouses containing those mining rigs and thousands of computers. And so this, I think, is pretty cool. This shows you the estimated energy consumption for the proof of work and proof of stake systems. So as you can see on the left, we have the orange is Bitcoin and the Ethereum proof of work system, and we can see that in terms of gigawatts, it gradually the energy increases. But on the right, we can see that the units, if we take a look at the units are 2,000 times on the left than on the right, and we can see this huge gap between the energy's consumption between the proof of work and the proof of stake system. So this is a huge incentive for people to switch from the proof of work to the proof of stake system. And so one last advantage of the proof of stake system is that it chooses validators significantly quicker than proof of work, because in proof of work, people have to solve those puzzles, as I mentioned before. Whereas in proof of stake, they're just choosing validators based on tokens held by the validator, and so this will lead to increased transaction speeds and also decreased transaction fees. So some cons. So it's large scale uncertainty. So proof of stake has not been scaled to the size of large cryptos yet, especially the two biggest ones, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and those two still use proof of work. However, Ethereum, I mentioned this before, but Ethereum is considering a transition from proof of work to proof of stake. So we will see in the future how that goes, and and proof of stake also leads to centralization. Also, there's worse security because it's easier for validators to get approved, which means that it's more vulnerable to attack. So this is a big you have to weigh the pros and the cons when you're thinking about transitioning, right? Because on the one side you have increased energy efficiency and helping the environment and faster transaction speeds, but on the other side you have the possibility of centralization and worse security. So these are the things these people need to consider when switching from proof of work to proof of stake. And there's also coin consolidation, so accumulation of coin increases, and this leads to someone who can control a majority of the tokens and could eventually control a majority of the network. And this ties back into centralization. And so the key takeaways from this is that with proof of stake, cryptocurrency owners can validate a transaction based on the number of coins a validator stakes. And this was created as an improved version of proof of work, which was the original mechanism to validate the blockchain. And it is more efficient and better for the environment, but is more vulnerable to risk. So let's do a quick review. Which of the following is not an advantage of proof of stake? Either say it out loud or type in the chat.
I'll wait till the end.
What'd you say?
I said I'll wait till the end so somebody else like Pineapple can jump in.
Okay.
B.
Yes, that is the answer. B. Proof of stake is more energy efficient. It has lower transaction fees and there's lower barrier to entry, but it is not more secure because it's much easier for the validators to get approved on the network. So yeah, nice. Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. Feel free to contact me or any of the FLIC officers or email us at info@joinflic.org. And does anybody have any questions?
I don't know if this one's fair because we didn't go over it, but I know that companies that run these protocols, their customers or their validators use nodes. I was wondering if nodes are technology agnostic. Can a company switch from one protocol to the other and use their existing nodes, or do they have to redesign everything if they're trying to be cleaner and use like proof of stake, for example?
I'm actually not quite sure about that. I would imagine that they would just create a new one, but I not quite sure about that one. I'm not too informed on that. Sorry.
Fair enough. I'm just wondering, like, barriers to change for companies that are trying to be greener. Like, if they've got 100,000 clients, like, how difficult is it for them to actually make platform improvements and protocol improvements?
Yeah. Other questions?
Yes. So what's your what's your favorite proof of stake coin right now? Since
What's my favorite what?
proof of stake coin?
Oh, proof of stake coin?
Yes.
Currently I think Solana is pretty good. First, it has like really fast transaction speeds, and super low transaction speeds as well. So I think Solana is high up there. But I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that Ethereum. I'm just waiting for Ethereum to switch to proof of stake. I'm just hoping that happens because I feel like with Ethereum, with its many different applications, is still king. I think it's still on the top. So currently, if you're only talking about proof of stake, I would say Solana. But once Ethereum switches from proof of work to proof of stake, then I would say Ethereum.
Oh, I just lost my question. What was it? I'm pretty sure you mentioned this before, probably in previous presentations, but do you think when Ethereum 2.0 goes to POS, would the gas fees go down, stay the same, higher, or
I think the
or
gas fees
what do you
will.
think?
I think the gas fees will definitely go down. It just depends on. I think the gas fees will definitely go down a bit, but how much they will go, I'm not quite sure. But I think once it switches from the proof of work to proof of stake in Ethereum 2.0, the gas fees will go down. But yeah, how much they go down, I'm not sure. And it also depends on the market congestion and how many people are trying to interact with the blockchain. So that could um, also affect the gas fees. Yeah.
Well, that's it exactly. If ETH 2.0 leads to more massive rapid adoption, we'll be right back here in no time.
Yeah, true. There'll be much more people interacting with the blockchain network.
Okay, and then would like projects start building on the blockchain on the Ethereum blockchain just because most projects are looking for blockchains that have low fees, and right now Ethereum doesn't really have that. So
Hmm?
is that like a possibility you think, or would they rather go to, I don't know, like one of these cheaper blockchains like um Avalanche or Polygon and one of those others? Hopefully you heard me.
Could you repeat your question real quick? It was kind of long.
Oh, yeah, I can. And I just forgot. Oh, right. So the Ethereum blockchain usually has high fees, and most NFT projects are looking to go with like lower transaction fees, so it's easier for people to get into the blockchain and pretty much pay for those NFTs. So I'm just wondering if Ethereum 2.0, the gas fees get a little bit lower, would there be more NFT projects building on top of Ethereum? If that made sense,
I
hopefully.
think I think there will.
Okay.
I mean, Ethereum NFT projects I think mainly still use Ethereum, but other blockchains like Polygon and Solana, I know they're on the rise, and there's like debate about whether Solana will overtake Ethereum. So as of right now, I think Ethereum still a majority of these NFT projects are built on the Ethereum blockchain, and if Ethereum switches from proof of work to proof of stake with the lower transaction fees, I think that will give more people more incentive to build it off of the Ethereum blockchain. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
And then one more thing. You
Hmm?
said proof of stake, you could. Darn it. I keep forgetting everything right now.
No
Um,
worries.
it's mostly always
Well, why
about
aren't
proof of
you writing
stake.
down your questions while you think of them?
I can't. I'm on the spot.
No worries. I'll come back eventually.
I might just have to DM you. I just had it
Yeah.
and I lost it again.
Yeah, no worries. Feel free to DM me. I'll get back to you.
Okay. Okay, totally random question, but
Hmm?
what are the fees like on Bitcoin? High, low, don't know. It depends.
Um, I'm not too into Bitcoin. I'm more into
Huh.
Ethereum, but I'd expect it to be somewhat similar to Ethereum because they both use the proof of work protocol. So I would expect it to be somewhat similar. The exact amount I'm not quite sure because I'm more into Ethereum and all those. So yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to stay away from Ethereum just until the gas fees, I don't know, seem a little bit more reasonable. And I'm just
Yeah,
not
gas
really
fees
good
are a
at
pretty big
deciding
problem.
what time is, the right time. Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, nope, it's still high. Check an hour
Mm,
later. Still high. I'm like,
mm.
okay.
Yeah, gas fees are a pretty
Darn it.
big problem. I mean, I've seen gas fees as low as like I think 30 or 40, which I think is already really good for Ethereum, but sometimes they can go up to like $300, $400 depending on the blockchain congestion. I think someone in the last workshop mentioned that they saw they had they saw gas fees that were like thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, I think. So gas fees can be a pretty big pain.
Well, thank you again. I always like these. Do you have do you have any idea like how many of these you're going to be doing? I don't remember if that was ever talked about.
Oh yeah, so we currently have a 20-week curriculum planned out. So we're currently on week 11. So we have I think 9 more of these. But then we are happy to take any topics that the Leyline community wants us to talk about. So if any of you guys have a particular topic you want us to do, feel free to DM me or any of the any other officers, and we will certainly consider certainly consider doing those as well. So
Yeah, one on the impending crypto winter would be interesting. I know it would be mostly prognostication, but still.
if nobody has any other questions, I guess that's it. Thank you guys so much for attending this workshop. It really means a lot for you guys to just stick around and listen to us. So yeah, thank you guys. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to DM me. My Discord tag is SAMMM hashtag 9089. If any of you guys have any further questions throughout the week or anything, feel free to DM me and I will get back to you guys as quickly as I can. So yeah, thank you guys once again. Have a good day and have a good rest of your week.